Irish Mead, 1 year later. What changed?
Well, for one, some stuff settled out in the bottom here. Okay, that's a really bad picture because it's not in focus or anything, but you can kind of get the idea. That is sediment in the bottom of that bottle. So when that happens, we just pour really, really carefully, okay?
Now you might be wondering, why did this happen? And I have a really easy answer for that. There were a lot of herbs in this mixture. So there's going to be micro particles floating around there. That's going to take a while for it to settle out.
Yes.
So we do have that inch or so of sediment layer on the bottom, but with the gentle pour, we have some crystal clear beverage on the top. So I'm actually pretty happy about that.
And by not lifting it up super fast or anything like that, I can keep that in the bottom, and that way we can drink most of this bottle. It's a little disappointing to have to lose some, but you can also let this sit a while longer and it will settle out some more, that kind of thing. We're just going to put this over here.
So, you at home following along with us on this journey, if you have yet to make this brew, you know it's going to take extra time to settle out. So, if you want to have crystal clear in the bottle, you know it's going to have to rest probably longer than you think to get all that stuff out. But
I don't remember how fast we racked it, but it might have been a little quick. Right. So give it like another few weeks, another month or two, and it'll be fine. Time is your best friend. You definitely don't want to rack too fast. You definitely don't want to bottle too fast. Sometimes we push the schedule a little bit so that we can get the videos out. Because we try to do 2 videos a week, and every once in a while we're like, we probably shouldn't have done that one so early. But, you know, it does happen.
Another good thing on the news front for this particular beverage is the aroma is hitting me already. But I'm jumping the gun. It
smells wonderful.
So let's talk a little bit more about its visual appearance.
Color, clarity, all that kind of stuff. This is crystal clear. It's like a 9.5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super, super clear.
The color reminds me of iced tea.
Yeah, it does kind of look like iced tea. And with all the herbs, it makes sense.
It's a nice tea
it is
color.
Technically an iced tea mead, but not tea.
We recently visited a park, and the water was a similar color to this because of all the tannins leached from the leaves.
Yeah.
And it's really pretty, but more attractive than its visual appeal.
This smells incredible.
Is the aroma.
It's got a sweetness, a fruity sweetness. Remember the tea wine?
Yeah.
It smells a lot like the tea wine. But this has a more herbaceous thing going for it. Almost a little spicy even. That's all those herbs that we used. It's just, wow. I remember not being super thrilled with this when we first made it.
Yeah.
So, you know, this smells much, much, much better.
What's interesting to me is I agree with Brian on the fruit notes, but the fruit notes that I'm actually getting aroma-wise is more like dates and figs. It
okay, like the dark fruit.
Exotic, Middle East, at least exotic for us.
Yeah, I can get that. But I also get like almost a berry, like there's a lighter, brighter fruit flavor there too. Fruit smell, because I haven't tasted it yet. But we're going to do our short sip, which the short sip is basically when you just acclimate your palate to the alcohol. This is 13.2%, by the way. Is this the same thing that we didn't like a year ago?
You saw I had problems again with my short sip, and that's because this just grabs a hold of your tongue and doesn't want to let go.
Wonderful.
And you're happy about it. It's not like, no, get off my tongue. It's like...
It fills your mouth. It's very rich. It's viscous.
Oh, yeah.
There's a sweetness to it, but it's not overly sweet. It's got that lovely herbs flavors in it. I mean, this is my wheelhouse. This is a methylglen. It's an herb methylglen, which I usually like spicy, like the spiced methylglens. But this still, wow. It's
definitely honey forward. I'm definitely getting all the sensations that I expect to get from something made from honey. The texture, the sweetness, the different notes beyond just being sweet. I'm getting all that from this, and it's making me really happy. And then those herbs are just working with that sensation, not detracting from it at all.
Oh, no, they work with it. They're adding to it.
It's almost like it's elevating that honeyness.
Absolutely.
So, yay.
I'm ready for long sip. That's when you hold it in your mouth for a while, really get to explore it, and you taste things that aren't necessarily in it, but they come through as flavors. Wow. On the entrance, I get the honey character. Boom. Right away. Then it coats the sides of your mouth. It just like richness all over the place. And I get a little bit of a tannic, acidic, like a slight astringent thing going on that cuts through that sweetness really nicely. And that's when I'm tasting some of the herbs. And I'm just using generic herbs because I can't differentiate any one herb from another. They blended together into just this herby thing, but it's not vegetal at all. No. It's actually like almost adding to the sweetness, a little bit of a floral essence to it. I want to say almost a lemony kick, but it's really tiny, like minute.
It's kind of more like thyme than lemon.
Yes. Yes. This is why there's two of us.
There's another thing that I'm getting that Brian didn't mention, and I don't know if it's just something that I'm getting on my own, but I'm getting the honey initially, and then it kind of mutates into almost a Boucher honey.
Well, now I have to look for that.
One of those darker honeys, like the Ethiopian honey or the buckwheat honey that has that extra rich and depthness.
I'm not getting it as a honey thing, but I see where you're coming from.
Or maybe even a coffee note. It just seems like something roasted.
There's a rich roasted something in there, and I think that's the earthiness of one of those herbs that we used.
Yeah,
it has an earthiness to it, which would definitely do that. But overall, this is impressive. This is a classic example of it was when we first made it. It was okay. Now this is good. I mean, this is a top 10 for me. That's how good this is.
I've had a lot of people comment lately because now is the time. It's actually a little past the time to be thinking about holiday meads and what you want to have ready for the holidays.
If you wanted this for the holidays this year, you should have made it last year.
That's the safest bet, honestly, because then it gets to age too. But this reminds me of the holidays, particularly wintertime.
Pardon me while I get some more.
Wintertime celebrations, where it just feels like it's got that warm blanket kind of sensation. I could imagine drinking this next to a fire.
Yep.
Fireplace, fire outside.
It doesn't taste like a mulled thing.
No.
Which a few people have asked if we'll do like a mulled mead. And yeah, you know what? As we get closer to Christmas and Thanksgiving and all, we might think about doing something like that. That's an interesting idea.
I believe we did.
We did it years ago, but let's do it again. Sure. Why not? Sure. We have lots of mead lying around. Yes. Use it up, right?
We have lots of spices lying around.
Lots of mead and lots of spice and lots of herbs. Yeah. Lots of everything around here.
Yes.
Overall, though, this is wonderful. I'm trying to think of what I would make to improve it, like how this would be improved. I'm even getting a little of the French oak notes coming through.
Oh, yeah. The linens,
a little bit of the linens come through. A little bit of a vanilla, even.
Yep.
And the caramel aspect is what you're kind of getting. It's like a cross between caramel and coffee.
Yeah.
And it's definitely there, and I think that's one of the earthy herbs coming through. This is, I mean, we can't say it enough. This is just really, really good. And I hate to say, it's just really good. But the notes of it are so smooth and so blended that it's really incredible. I
think one of the things about it that I'm really enjoying is that it has this rich complexity, but everything blends so well that it's not like just separate notes. It's just this
absolutely
unified experience that's very enriching and complex.
But there's nothing unpleasant. Like the mouthfeel is wonderful. There's even just enough bitter astringency to counteract the sweetness. I think this was a little higher sweetness than we might really want it to be. So it counteracted that. So the next thing we want to do is test it on ice, which it's been sitting on ice for a few minutes. And that way it gets cold. So go for it. Ladies first.
All right. Let's go.
Putting something on ice changes the flavor. Sometimes it can turn things down. It can turn things up. It can make it better. Sometimes makes it more boring. You never know.
It's like candy caramel now.
Oh, wow. Ooh. Another flavor came through. I got more vanilla.
More vanilla, yeah.
And definitely more of a caramel. This tastes like it's been oaked now.
It's candy. Candy in a glass.
That is wonderful. Okay.
But I don't know that I like this less. It's just very different. And that's interesting. And I've really enjoyed this experiment.
Now I'm sad that we have that inch of sediment.
Of comparing
I may have to find a way to get rid of that so I can drink more.
Comparing the iced versus the non-iced. Because I had expectations for that. And lately, those expectations are not there. So I just need to forget about the expectations and just enjoy it as it is. This is candy in a glass, where this is more
sophisticated, richer, more upscale.
Yes. But I like them both.
Oh, yeah. They both have their merits.
Yes, indeed.
Man, I want to go to quarter points for this one. There are times that it's so nice to be pleasantly surprised. And this is one of those times. I did not think this was going to be great. When I saw this was on the list to be done, I was like, oh, really? Yeah, because I wanted this to be good. I wanted this one to be awesome.
We've had a pretty impressive lineup thus far for these last couple of one-year tastings. Yeah. And when this one popped up, we were like, is this going to be a severe letdown because we've had all these great meads and wines to try? The answer is no.
No, this is not a letdown at all. I think I have a score. I may have to drink a little bit more to refine my score.
You also may have noticed us going back and forth between the chilled versus the room temperature versus the room temperature versus the chilled, and going back and forth on which one we drink first, following up which other one.
It can change your impression.
We found that, surprisingly enough, the flavor profiles affect your tasting based on order of selection.
Something very interesting about this one on ice. Most things, when you chill them, they get a little watery, at least on the entrance. This one, not at all. It's it's almost like it got thicker as it got iced.
It's candy.
Oh, it's just wonderful. I have a score.
I have a score.
1, 2, 3, 10.
9.5.
I had to do it. I had to pull the 10.
So which would you prefer, this or your spice metheglin?
My spice metheglin was an 11.
Okay, that's true. That is true.
This was not an 11. However, see, the way we score is 1 means just not good. Okay, you wouldn't want to give this to your worst enemy. You wouldn't want to drink it. You'd probably dump it. Okay, a 5 means yes, I would drink it if there was a bottle of it sitting there and it was within reach. I would drink it. It might not be the first thing I'd go for, but sure, I'd drink that. A 10 means there's nothing I would change. Nothing about this is unpleasant. Everything about this makes it, I want this one. I would choose this above most of the other things that we've ever made, other than the other things that I've given a 10 to. Then I'd have a choice to make. But to me, that's why I gave it a 10, because there's nothing I would change. This came out so good. If the chilled version was a little bit less, or the room temperature version was a little bit less, it might have been a 9.5 for me. But they were both so good and made it such an enjoyable drink. The play of the bitterness and the tannins and the sweetness is like perfect. I mean, everything about this, the blending is so amazingly perfect. That's why it's a 10 for me. I was thinking this was a 5 or 6 going into this video, guys, just so you know. This was not, I was like, oh boy, I don't know about this one.
As you can see, all 3 glasses are completely empty.
And I had seconds.
So that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah.
I realize now in hindsight that I did a major faux pas in my little toast.
You said skull and then drank it.
Yes, but this is an Irish mead.
Oops.
So I should have said
Sláinte. Yeah. Oh well. Hey, you know what? Most people that watch this show understand, and I'll deal with the comments on it. It's okay.
I had good intentions.
They're nice to you though, so it's all good.
Maybe they'll let me slide.
Yeah. But basically, in the end, this one is just really incredible. Please go make it. Watch the video again. There'll be links to it in the description and up above. And speaking of up above, if you like this video, look up. There's another one up there. You might like that one too.
Thanks for watching and have a great day.